Okay, I'm going to start. So every January, I typically do what I call a program update, where I kind of review how we're doing and talk about our history a little bit. So that's what I got going on here. And it's pretty cool to see so many of you sitting here. So we started in November of 2013, and that was 11 years ago, right? And many of you have heard us talk about Dr. Capagoda. He's sort of our guiding spirit and the reason that we exist, because all of us that um, are here because we used to work for him at UC Davis. And when he retired, he and I got together and we created a nonprofit and started this program with some connections that we had through Dean Heisen, who is not the dean anymore, but Diane Heisen was somebody that came to California with him from Canada, and she went on to become a dean here and has paved a lot of ways. And you'll see more and more of her over time now because she sort of stepped down from the dean so she can work on program development, including us as part of that. And there's over here on the wall is some descriptions of these people. Dr. Gerald Thomas is another reason that we're kind of really here, because he was an attorney who was a member of the group, and we would never have created a nonprofit without him, because he's the guy that knew what to do. So we're grateful to him, sorely missed. He was a fun, zany guy. And here's some pictures that sort of are some of the history. And this picture here in the top left, that's Diane Heisen right there in the dark hair, and Dr. Capagoda. And when we first moved into this building, we were down on the second floor, and we were so excited because our name was on the sign there. So they're pointing to the sign that says the wellness program is at the end of the hall. So that was a red letter day for us to have our sign on the wall. Yes, yes. So we used to be on the second floor. We started on the second floor. And we never talk about this woman here, but she's really, really important. And her name is Sarang Robinson. And she right here in the center top, this lady from Thailand. She was a patient at the cardiac rehab program, had a heart attack, came into that program a long time ago, and she had a husband named Malcolm, whose picture is back there by the sofa. And they were both super brainy people. They were retired sociology professors from Penn State, and they just totally embraced the program that was going on at the time. And Malcolm was just a wonderful man to chat with. He was, like I said, very cerebral and had lots of stuff and very analytical and looked at everything. And he spent hours in our program, and he became the ambassador for what was going on at that time. But anyway, he passed away very suddenly. And in his honor, Sarang gave Dr. K a bunch of money. Okay. And that's why we really, truly exist, is because we had some money. Okay, so she gave him $10,000, and she gave him another $10,000 a year later. So her money was the seed money that started this, which is what has paid for all the toys you see here in the room. And so she really is the linchpin of kind of why we exist. And we don't ever really mention her too much. This picture here in the middle on the left, when we were down on the second floor, was kind of a fun event, because I don't know if you recognize this woman in this gray skirt. That's Ruyak, right? And she was the NPR journalist at the time of this picture, which this would have been 2013. And she came over to interview Dr. Capagoda, and you can find that interview posted on our webpage when she came over. And we were just excited because Dr. Capagoda always wanted to be on the radio. So we were excited that she came over and gave him the opportunity to be a radio star. In the middle here is Dr. Lopez and Dr. Bucco-Putnam, our two cardiologists at UC Davis that basically are great referrals for us. Dr. Bucco-Putnam is our medical director. She'll be here Thursday, actually, to do a presentation. She tries to come over once a month. And then this is Diane at a Halloween party with Sharon. Sharon really can get into the Halloween stuff, right? So here she is as Minnie Mouse. And at this party here, where Sharon was a sock monkey, I think was her costume, she led this game here. And I just love this picture here, because here's, we were on the second floor at this time, but Sharon is leading some ridiculous dancing game here. And here's John being ridiculous. If you see him right there, that's John. There's Jane. And can't remember what this song was, but it was pretty fun. And these are our nurses today wearing their hats. And then this was great when we got our sign on the wall. And then I really felt good when actually now our name is on the sign that's actually out there on the street. So if you see this sign down there at the entrance to the parking lot, you know, it says Cardiovascular Wellness Program. Seeing stuff like that just makes me feel like we belong. If they recognize us enough to put our sign on a structure, then that's a good sign, in my opinion. Anyway, so that's just a little history. As I mentioned, we started with this nonprofit corporation, and that still is basically the thing that has a bank account. And Dr. Buka Putnam, just because of who she is, you know, is sort of de facto the president of this nonprofit. Since I'm the one who plays with the money, I'm the treasurer. Sharon is our secretary. And then these are our members at large. And it's a very small nonprofit. We still only have about $10,000, but we always seem to have about $10,000. So it's all good. And that is the basically the bank account that does the incidental things, you know, buys the paper towels and the oranges that come through here. So it's a very small nonprofit that totally exists on very generous donations from people throughout our program. And I'm not looking for donations. I'm just saying that that's how it exists, is by donations. And here's just a little schematic showing you sort of the campus structure. You know, within the Sac State structure, there's 2 colleges. There's Health and Human Services, and there's Social Sciences and Independent Studies. And our program is kind of unique because it's actually in both colleges, okay? So this building is an HHS building. So the things that are under HHS are the nursing school, the physical therapy school, the speech pathology, the communications disorders. Those are all in this building. And other things that are part of HHS are health sciences and kinesiology. Those are 2, you know, majors. And so people from all of these agencies do come through here, and we have to behave ourselves because we're in an HHS building. And so if we want to stay in this building, we sort of have to be part of the M. We truly, actually, Diane was the chair or was the dean of SSIS, and under that school college is nutrition, psychology, and gerontology. So we have students basically from all of these majors that float through here. And that's why we exist, is because we're serving the students from all these majors in 2 separate colleges. So that's kind of huge and big.
They don't charge you for this space.
No, they charge the students. So the more students we get, the better, because the students are the one that are paying for us to be here. They don't know that, but that's the reality. Okay, so this program, because of what it is, there's no charge for being here except for the parking, and you know, you pick your battles. So we used to get free parking, and that quit after the pandemic, and we're okay with that. It's pretty nominal what we do pay for parking, so I'm not gonna fight that. So many people complain about the parking, but it's what it is. They're complaining that they have to pay for it. Anyway, so the program for the most part is completely volunteer run. And as mentioned, the university basically, you know, turns the lights on and buys the computers and pays for the phone and pays for the water and all kinds of stuff. So the support that we're getting from the university is actually quite huge. And I now am a part-time faculty, so I get a small salary for that. Sharon is also part-time faculty, and Rob is part-time faculty, and he's kind of cool because his funding is coming from HHS, and Sharon and I are coming from SSIS. So that again relates to the commitment that the university is doing, that they're willing to pay for units for people to be in here. So we're very appreciative of that. And we also now have, when we have since COVID, a paid student assistant, which right now is Leanne. And that started with COVID money, and now that's being funded by another donation account that we have, which is a Sac State account. So if you give money, you could give money to either Sac State or to our small nonprofit, the Foundation for Health. Either way, that money directly does benefit us because we use it to pay for the student, or we use it to pay for stuff that's in here. And all of this donation stuff is indeed posted on our webpage if for some reason you wanted to go in and make a donation. And that's not what I'm talking about today, but I just wanted to realize those are choices for you. So just future thoughts so that we are not expecting this to go away. Diane, in her notion here, is kind of stepped down as the dean so she can work more on this development concept. And if you just thought about the notion of sustainability and longevity, obviously, who knows? You know, we have survived for 10 years on peanuts, and I don't suspect there's any reason why we couldn't continue on peanuts, and maybe we will. But the other reality has to do with who we are. And again, we're all volunteers, which means we're all getting older too. So, you know, I'm probably not going to be here forever. Mary's not going to be here forever. So you have that sustainability is where you need to come in. Were you going to say something, Ron? You could. And designate our program. And it goes into that account. Huh? Uh-huh. Yeah. There's envelopes over here you could do that for. And you can do it online too. So right now, Dr. Lopez, who you've met before, has a grant. And he has so many grants, it's really hard to keep track. But one of his grants, which he came in and chatted about, had to do with social connections for people. And so it was a zip code thing, and there was the heart failure doctor was involved in it. I don't know if you remember the project or not, because it's been over a year that he talked about it. But as part of that grant, we're included. And so he gave some money from his grant to our program because part of his social thing is to have people in here. And he is a very good referrer in here for clients.
Is it a federal grant?
It's yeah, it's NIH or something like that. And he's always scheming. He hasn't been in here in a couple of months, but he's got other plans that he would like to develop here, and time will tell if any of that works out. So that's donating. So in terms of what we do, you know, the biggest thing that goes on in here obviously is just working out, exercising, right? So we want everybody to have come up with some sort of plan that is your own individual exercise routine. And the people that participate in the other cardiac rehab programs, they kind of come in here with the plan because they had some stuff that they were doing where they were. And for those of you that didn't do that, then you kind of have to kind of create your new own plan. And you've already figured out, and this is for me a fun part, is that while we're open here for people to come in and do their individual thing, we have a lot more group activities, and those are both, you know, that's hybrid. So you can come in here in the room and do them, or you can join us at home from Zoom and do them. And there's a good presence in both those regards. That's going to continue. And I'm grateful that people seem to be enjoying those. Another thing we're really blessed is to have David here in the mornings, because Tai Chi, I think, is a great adjunctive therapy that fits in really well with what we're doing. And it's small, and not a lot of people like to do it, but it is a good thing to do. And it's a good balance activity. It's a good strength activity. And David is wonderful that he's willing to do that. And then another part of one of our pillars has to do with this mindfulness stuff. Linda Larson was here last week. So she comes over at least once a month and helps us with that, you know, basically stress reduction technique. Grateful for that. This 11:45 slot, we're going to always continue to have something going on there. And we have, you know, 3 great nurses, Carrie, Rob, and Sharon, that all participate in the educational component there. These guest doctors come in, and then we have other people that come in throughout and you probably figured out that I'm the one that kind of sets up that schedule. So if you ever want to be on the schedule, let me know. And then thanks to Debbie Lucas, who's a dietitian that comes over here twice a month. She's been with us since day one. She's come over for 10 years very faithfully. We have a huge collection of her recipes over there. Grateful for her. And you've already figured out that the students are a huge part of what goes on here. So ongoing operation is always just the fact that there'll be students in here, and it really helps that people interact with them, because that's they're the ones, like I said, that are paying for us to be here. You're a client. Like we used to say patient, but you're not a patient, you're a client. This is our mission statement. Uh-huh.
And I know when I try to do it here, but it's kind of crowded. Are you gonna have some student-led exercise, or are you just gonna stick to the,
Well, I never say never. There's no, yeah,
what time you ever fire COVID?
yeah. I wouldn't mind some student help. I don't know if you figured out I'm doing 4 workouts a day. Yeah. But yeah, there's not a lot of hours in the day to do stuff. So, but we're always open to trying new stuff, new schedules. Again, we do have a mission statement, which is really just to be available to anyone that wants to come in here and address all these students. This is posted on the wall over there. It's posted in our brochure. I want to spend a little time talking about the pillars and the stools. So back in the day when we all worked together, Sharon and Carrie and I at UC Davis, we always talked about how our program was a 3-legged stool, and that how we did things in that program that related to eating right, to taking care of yourself physically, and also managing your stress. And it was like a 3-legged stool. And obviously you were a better balanced person if you basically devoted time and effort to each of those 3 entities. If all you did was work on your physical fitness and you didn't eat right, or you didn't manage your stress level, then you know you're out of balance. You're going to tip over. So we use this 3-legged stool analogy for many, many years. And then since then, we sort of adapted now to a 4-legged stool. And if you thought about it, actually a 4-legged stool is a lot more stable than a 3-legged stool, right? So in this program, and you see this posted around the room, the stuff that we do all basically is geared towards these 4 pillars. Okay, so we want to take care of ourselves physically. We want to take care of ourselves nutritionally. We want to take care of ourselves mentally and manage our stress and be mindful about how we're doing. And then the 4th pillar, which is equally important as the other 3 and kind of a byproduct of the fact that we're in here working out together and eating together and stressing less together, is the social connections. So that's a huge part of what we do. Carrie did a great talk at the beginning of the month about our community, really, really important. So that social interaction is an equally important pillar with the other 3 things that we're doing. And if you've ever looked at the schedule, you'll figure out that what we're doing all relates to one of these pillars, and they overlap obviously a lot. There's a book in our shelf over there. Dean Ornish is a doctor who has a lot of press and did a lot of things related to reversing heart disease and reversing kidney disease as well, advocating plant-based eating and stress management. And this is the cover of his book, which is really the same thing. So his pillars are eat well, move more, stress less, and love more. Really the same thing as our 4 pillars. So you see that kind of 4-pillar model in other places. And I'm not saying we took it from Dean Ornish. He certainly didn't take it from us. But I'm happy with the pillars that we're advocating. And if you looked out there in the world, other entities, businesses, etc., might have 5 pillars or 4 pillars or 8 pillars or 7 pillars, and whatever. We have 4, and they're the same as other people. And our pillars basically are relating to health and wellness. So this program here, the whole point of what we're doing is to provide opportunities to practice those behaviors that relate to those pillars. So we exercise a lot, we eat a lot, and the stress management and the social things are equally important to all of that. And those of you that are here already bear witness to all of that. Where people are coming from, basically I mentioned Dr. Lopez and Dr. Buka Putnam, who are both UC Davis cardiologists. Obviously, they send a lot of people over here. Many of you have either one of these people for your physicians. But to be honest, these are the only 2 doctors that really, quote, refer people here. Other than that, there's sort of this word of mouth concept, and it's worked up pretty well. And I have kind of a fun slide here. Oh, we are a community. We know that as well. That Jessica helped me fix. So this is sort of the history of our growth. When we first started, we had this little cohort of 8 people that had been in the UC Davis cardiac rehab program that came over here and worked out with us. This is down on the 2nd floor. And we were in what we would consider a pilot phase. Okay, so we did that for about a year. And over the course of that year, those people, you know, brought their friends and relatives. And so we grew some, so that by the end of 2014, we realized, okay, yeah, this is working. We had by that time worked out we started with 1 week of classes once a week, and now we were doing them 3 times a week. And we had, you know, a good probably 20 or 30 people that were coming in here consistently. So we decided at the end of 2014 that we would then start actively recruiting for new people. But sadly, at the end of 2014, Dr. Capagoda got sick and he passed away right at the beginning of 2015. So then it was like, oh, that was the plan. And now what? Because that was really my mission, was to create this legacy for him. And all of a sudden he's gone. And so I really grappled with that for a long time. And then I actually realized that, well, it's my legacy as well as everybody else's legacy. So we basically held it together the best we could for most of 2015. And Dr. Buka Putnam kind of stepped in and she kept us afloat to some extent. And so a few people came from her. And so by the end of 2015, now we'd been here a couple years, we had, you know, a good number of people. And then all of a sudden we sort of connected with other things like the Renaissance Society, and we grew even more. And then again, this is this ripple effect that once people started to come in here, and many of you know this, then Judy's great at this. So somebody comes in and then they get their next door neighbor to come in, and they get their brother to come in, or their husband or spouse, or their children. So the ripple effect is incredible. And so after the Renaissance, then came the college, the neighborhoods here, College Greens, Notre Dame, and Campus Commons. So we grew and grew and grew, so that by 2019, end of 2019, we had, you know, a lot more people, and 80 of them were coming in here all the time. And I truly remember at the beginning of 2020, February, by then our roster is up to about 100. And I'm thinking, this is great. This is wonderful. It's just like riding this wave. There's so many people coming in. It was really fun. How could this possibly continue? And all of a sudden the next week we had to leave because it was COVID. So 2020, we basically, you know, left the premises, kept all the plants in here. The security guys watered them for us. We were gone for a whole year and a half, right? And so obviously during 2020, not a lot happened. And by 2021, we were back in here, and then we started to rekindle our ties with UC Davis and keep growing. So to this point now, we're sort of back to where we were prior to the pandemic. So we have, you know, about 75 people that are coming in consistently throughout the week. And there's another, again, this is a COVID boom. There's, you know, 20, 30 people that we never really see because they're on Zoom. So our roster's nice and bolstered, and it's not everybody's here. Some of you are on Zoom. So that's how we grew. And I just think that's a fun slide. This is how the numbers have gone over the years. So by 2024, we've now enrolled over 200 people in this program. And this is sort of the demographics of how they're enrolled, because when we started, it was basically people that had participated in cardiac rehab programs, meaning they're people that had a diagnosis to be in cardiac rehab, which is some sort of heart history, right? And that continued, so for the most part, until the Renaissance people. And so now at this point in time, it's sort of a 50-50 mix, that there's many people in here that are indeed cardiac rehab graduates, and there's also an equal number of people that don't want to be a cardiac rehab graduates. They're just prevention oriented and are taking care of themselves, and they fall into this category of maybe having a risk factor of their blood pressure or their diabetes, etc. You don't have to have a risk factor to be in here. It's pretty hard to be 75 years old and not have at least one risk factor, but some of you don't. That's not good. Anyway, so that's just, there's not a diagnosis criteria to enter to be enrolled. You don't have to have had a heart event. but we acknowledge that many of you had, and we basically want to keep tabs on that. And you're blessed that we have this rock star staff of people that have a lot of history of dealing with people with those issues. So it all works out great. So that's who's enrolled. And of course, there's a notion, and this is true for everywhere in life, that just because 260 people signed up to be in the program, that doesn't mean they all are still ever came in, right? So the drop rate for anything is pretty high. And of the 258 people that were enrolled right now, about 74 of them are still attending. And so that's about 30%. So this dropout rate's high. That's true of life in general.
I think that's pretty high.
It's just what it is. And so I mentioned that we do have a big referral base from UC Davis, but not everybody here is from UC Davis. So about half of our people come from UCD, and then the other half come from other place. A lot of you have Kaiser, and then there's smatterings of other people that have other healthcare structures. So that's nice because that means that we truly are a community program. We're not a med center program. We're not a Kaiser program. We're a community program. Take all comers. And the student stuff, again, is the real key for kind of what's important. And so as we've grown, and you've probably noticed that I do my best to make sure that we get our fingers in everybody's little pie. And so we now are field placement for nutrition students, for community psych students, for Gero students, and more we're going to see more community health nurses in here. We're going to have 2 of those starting in February this semester. A lot of the students in here are getting credit because they're doing this research opportunity that we have, which is called ID 201. And I teach this other course called Gero 101. And those students pop in here too and get some field experience hanging out with you people. So these interactions are really important, and we're really grateful that you're willing to chat with these students, because that's really what we're all about, is us relating to them learning how to relate to us. And as I mentioned, they're key, because that's why we get to be here, because if they weren't in here, there would be no rationale for the university to continue to keep the lights on. This is just a little schematic showing the various majors that they're coming from. And I was kind of surprised actually that so many of them are nutrition majors. The 2 purple, the 26% of them are nutrition majors, and a lot of Gero majors. And the health science is the major that's growing. So probably next year that green piece will be bigger, but who knows? We'll see. We'll see. So some projects that have gone through here that you guys have participated in, I just wanted to highlight those a little bit. There was a kind of a fun project where people filled out surveys about the technology that we used. And Kim Roberts is a psychologist from the psych department here, and we do a lot of stuff with her. And that there's a poster for that somewhere around when we collected that project. And of course, the interesting thing is that older adults can use technology, even though some of them don't like to. During the pandemic, there was a project that we did that had to do with musicians, and some of you might have participated in that, which was basically collecting data on people's musical histories, performance histories, and breaking them into 2 groups, people that were musicians and non-musicians, and doing some cognitive functioning testing. And indeed, the people that were musicians did do a little better in cognition than the people that were non-musicians. And Dr. Buka Putnam actually is going to New Orleans to present this poster at a neuropsychology meeting in February. So that's kind of exciting that we did a project, we made a poster, and we're actually going to share it with the world. Getting published is hard. Many of you participated in a sleep habits project with depression. That's posted around in here somewhere as well. So that's part of the interactive part. Is you'll see I send emails out all the time. Can you please go in and do this survey that has to do with this? So some of those come from Kim, some of those come from the other students that are in here. And the more of you that participate in those, obviously, the better, because that gives everybody more chances to see what's going on. Last spring, there were 2 PT students, Henry and Dan, that collected data on a lot of you. And I'm going to be hounding them this semester because they're overdue to basically share what they learned. those of you that remember, you did this, that stepped up on the box and did the gait test and the 6-minute walk down the hall. Many of you did that. And last semester, I had a lot of fun learning the ballet stuff from Angie. That was a fun project that we might continue with. And I don't know if you noticed, there's a book in the back here that one of the students last semester put together, which was basically polling you guys about what would you tell somebody about your finances or your she had all kinds of questions that you ask. And it was a nice compilation that's now in a binder there. So if you might want to look through that. And again, these are just opportunities to help these students, you know, further their knowledge, further our knowledge too. And the more you participate in them, the better off we are. This semester, I teach this Gero class, and I have set up, and I'm going to have some Zoom sessions at 5:30 on a Thursday, which again are opportunities to give the students interactions with older people. So if you can come to my Zoom classes at 5:30, the 6 that are posted, I'll have the schedule for that in a second here. And that's very helpful. And the class is online, which is why it's via Zoom. So that's you come to the Zoom meeting and you hang out with us and chat.
Subject.
Yeah, there'll be topics. So we're going to talk. One of them is on legal stuff, fraud. You know, who's had experience getting scammed. And one of them's on leisure activities, those kinds of things. And just to mention, you know, the semester is just starting, so there'll be more and more projects coming out of here. Do you want to say anything about what you're going to try to do, Lizbeth, or not? No. Okay. Our Gero majors are the ones that have to do projects, so they're madly thinking about what they're going to be. Well, it's mostly Zoom. What's your question?
Why, I mean, are they in person?
No, it's Zoom. It's all Zoom. Yeah. No, I'll actually be in here. You could come in here. But the students are all in Texas and wherever they are. Okay, just to mention, some of you have already figured this out, but like this recording, this class, when Debbie's here, most of our lectures are now recorded and they go onto our YouTube page, and you can connect to them from our web page. There's usually a link, but it's way more straightforward to just go to our YouTube page and find stuff. The only caveat there is Dr. Buka Putnam's stuff is not posted on the YouTube page. So, and we do record her. So if you want to find Dr. Buka Putnam's talks, you need to go through the web page. And if you want to find anything else, you could go through the web page, or you could just go straight to YouTube and find them there. And this is on the back shelf there to help you figure out how to get into YouTube. And when you do this, right, Judy? So you see us all the time? Yeah. So looking forward into this next year, obviously, we want to keep doing stuff. So this continued development of our curriculum, it's so nice to have these rock star nurses that are part of us that help us do these great things. And the other departments are going to keep going what they do with the PT, the nursing, etc. One of my newest things is this matter of balance class, which I'm looking at as an outreach activity. So that's an 8-week class that gives people the opportunity to focus on fall risk prevention and habits related to that. And my main notion for even starting to do it was as an outreach event, meaning if I could get somebody to come in here and take that class with us, then they might be more interested in doing other stuff with us after they've done that class. So that is a class that's open to anybody that's out there that wants to do an 8-week session. And we're now doing our second one. So the nurses will have more and more involvement here. That's kind of fun that it took them so long to catch on to that we were here. And anybody have any other ideas for stuff you'd like to see coming through here? We're always open to suggestions. Okay.
Speakers that you bring in.
Uh-huh.
Kind of like,
Safety thing, yeah.
services,
Right.
like that. Bringing resources.
Okay.
Creating awareness of
Right.
Resource.
Well,
I can't think of her name, but she was the one that about the you know, in case you fall.
Right, Dot Boyd, yeah. So guest speakers, those are great. I agree. Okay, that's really all I had for this presentation. So if you have any questions, let me know. Those are the lemmings jumping into the sea, right, Edie? Those little critters there, they're all shares your interest, and they're all running off the cliff into the sea. Okay. Thank you. Oh, Diane, you're here.
Yeah, I came in late, but
Okay,
I'll
I'm gonna stop my share.
afterwards. So
Maybe.
yeah, hi everybody.
Wait, don't go away. Don't go away. Don't go away. Don't go away.
I won't go away.
Diane, I can't hear you though. And I
Oh,
think that's because I don't have my PA turned on. Hold on.
okay.
Say something now.
Sorry, I came in late.
That's okay. You're here, and now we can hear you even.
Yay! So hi
Please stop.
everybody.
Let me stop this share. Where am
This is gosh, the memories.
there? Okay, yeah. So what do you?
Well, I
Oops.
want to make sure, Linda, so whatever you shared in terms of the importance of the program involvement and the campus and our space seems to be protected at the moment. I mean, you're probably hearing lots of changes coming up on the campus generally, but
All I said was that you're going to fix it.
yeah. We're
Right.
gonna fix it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I
Any
said.
questions that came up specifically or anything that you
No, we're just generally talking here about how great we are, and we want to stay that way. And we know we need to keep help with the students. That's the upshot of what's going on here, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And I feel like the emphasis on having students have experiences where they can actually work with real situations, that is even when you hear about budget cutbacks at the CSUs, which if you're reading the paper, you'll see, there's a lot of changes on campuses right now with enrollment and the federal changes that have just, the basically suspending a lot of the funding that helps keep students and programs going. Those are realities, but we're still a campus, and I think that this is kind of a best practice that brings together the community and participants, and so everything that you do, especially the interaction with students and the ability to continue interacting and providing programming for them is really important. So I'll be coming around a little bit, and part of my position this spring is to actually help get that a little more on paper and have people know what's going on. And so I think that's probably what the priority is going to be. There's a lot of very good things in this program. And the more people we can involve and the more students we can involve, the more programming, the better. So
right. Well, we'll keep the light on.
And this space is a unique space, you'll see that, I mean, as you come into the building, you'll see that other entities like the football program are moving in there. These are some of it's, not going to be like long term, but so spaces, there's kind of a grab for space right now, and yet we've been pretty protected in that. This is a unique space and a unique program that we've created. So far so good, but keep it going, keep people participating and talk about it, and we'll help it. We're all in a position where we're being asked to sort of justify our existence. And I think there's a lot of very good things here, Linda.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for joining.
Sorry so late. Send me the slides.
Okay. All right.
Everybody, see you later.
Anybody else that's in there don't want to say anything? I guess not. All right.
I
Thank
look
you,
forward to
everybody.
seeing everybody in person next week. So, or this
Okay.
Thursday.
All right.
Okay.
See ya.
Bye.
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 I do have one change.
Oh, of course you do.
You know, those coins that you're holding up in the money page, they all have the euro on them instead of the dollar sign.
So you think we wouldn't take anybody's euros?
I don't think we have a whole lot of euros, we don't- but I just thought I'd point that out in case there's an option.
I'll have to go back.
Why
and
was that? Like, I want to see who's here, put that on the screen.
No, I'm not sure why on one machine I'm sharing and I'm not on the other.
I
There.
can see the picture right now of the, oh,
It's number 7.
oh, yeah.
Number 7. What do you mean number 7?
Slide 7.
Oh, yeah, we just saw the one with the picture of the,
Oh,
yeah.
those are euros?
Yes.
Oh,
I think we would take euros, John. I'm not too sure.
Well, it's a lot of euros and no dollars.
Well, dollars don't.
California, Californians get flummoxed, you know.
Okay. That's the only change you found?
Yes.
Shocking.
Well, this has been cleaned a lot and it reads well.
Okay.
I
All
would
right.
say if people know about other funding opportunities with agencies that aren't necessarily federal or, you know, some of the, so it'd be good to, anyone who has connections to grants and funding, and it's another part of our need, you know, to.
Okay. Well, thanks for joining.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks,
See you,
everybody.
everybody. I'm going to end
Bye.
the meeting here. Bye.
Bye.